It's been a crazy past couple of years because even in 2023 and 2022, I think struggling to even run 143. And all of a sudden you have the 100 make a generational leap, and I've kind of been going along with it and training to my best ability, and hopefully we can tighten the screws here. Uh, and we're all right there, separated by a few tenths of a second, or yeah, and hopefully we can do some shuffling around and maybe get the medals this time around. It's incredible to see how the 800's gone from kind of a lull to the pinnacle.
How do you explain that? Like, I wrote this big article about a month ago, like trying to dig into it, to what the bunch of coaches, and it seemed like there were a confluence of factors. But like, do you think there's one above the other? Why do you think the 800 took such a leap in 2024?
That's what's crazy is like I've asked myself, like, even being a part of it, like I don't know like the answer to it, because like one, the only controlling variable that I can do is like I know what was different in my outcome, and like mine was like I was in a place where I needed to be in a new training environment, and being with this new group and being with an incredible training partner, and like having a few insights from them, and being at altitude and everything, it definitely was what put me over the edge to have that aerobic capacity to be hitting these new times. And so that's what I've looked at it from my perspective, and then like, okay, if that's what worked for me, there's no way that everyone else made a huge change in like their careers as well. And so it's like, okay, like what was it that allowed so many 141s to be run this year? And it's like you don't know the answer. But like I guess the way that I made the most sense of it was like maybe you have like a generational athlete, and say Wayne Yoni is the generational athlete, and you go back and correlate that to Rudisha being an incredible, like capable of running 140, and you kind of bring guys along in your wake. And I think just with one person being like capable of doing it, you kind of like raise the bar to where now, in order to be competitive, like you have to be running there like right along with them. And I think that's probably most of the case of it. But yeah, I'd love to get into speculation, because it's crazy how fast it just jumped in 1 year.
Well, one of the theories I heard was that people are a little less aggressive early in the race with like that maybe first or second 200. And that means that they've got more in the home straight and they're actually benefiting more from going out a little bit slower for the first lap, but then you've got more in reserve. Like, did you notice that in races that people weren't getting out quite as hard? And do you think that had an effect?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all relative to where, like, honestly, I couldn't tell you the difference between what a 50 flat feels like and what a 49.2 feels like. Like, I'm sure it'll feel a little hotter to be going out in 49.2, but like, is that like the key variable that's like making us capable of running these times? I don't know, because then you got to look at it from like a multiple race perspective. Of like, okay, man, that might have been the case in the Olympic final, but like there's still other races like Paris Diamond League, for example, where the guys also ran 141, and was it also a result of them going out more conservative? I mean, I haven't gone back to watch that race enough to know, um, but I feel like that's kind of just like grasping for straws a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah. I mean, do you prefer to run a positive, like just if you had your choice, would you rather run positive splits or negative splits? Like, which kind of race do you like?
I think the ideal race would be running a. My instinct was to say even, to where like I think maybe that's just the way I've kind of run it, to where like you don't really want to be like changing pace all too much. But I think ideally go out in 50 and come back in 51, or maybe another 50. To where like I don't know. I don't think there's any sense in going out in 48. I think if you go out in 48, you're trying to run 139. To where, yeah, I mean it's a good question. So like, who knows what the ideal race is? I think there's more variables in like if you have a rabbit that's capable of carrying the field through a certain time. I think there's a lot to be said, which is being able to shut off your brain, go through 400 meters, and then really have the race start in the second lap.
And one of the other things I've heard some athletes say they think made a difference was sodium bicarbonate. And that's something, the research is still coming in, but I know Marco Arop's like, yeah, I tried it right before the Olympics and, I loved it. He started running 141 like 3 times in a row. I don't, now my understanding is you've never tried that. Is that correct? And is that something you would try in 2025?
I want to try it next year. Like the like like I guess people were advising me was saying that it would like upset your stomach if you were just all of a sudden like start trying it. And so like I didn't want to risk need to use the restroom in my Olympic final, and so I kind of shied away from it. But obviously, I think there is like scientific backings where it will help you buffer the lactic. So I'm excited to try, but I just like wasn't. I don't want to make too many changes in the Olympic year, you know. So I did shy away from using it, but I'm hoping that can be something that benefits me in the future.
I have this huge theory about the 800 in 2025. I might reveal it right here, but first I'm going to set it up. So Bryce, in 2024, you decided to start training at altitude, training with Hobbs. It makes sense for me why you improved. I don't know why the rest of the event did. Like, so that one we'll start figuring out with, because John, it's not like people haven't gone out in 50 seconds in the past. They all didn't run 141, but maybe it's a confluence of factors. So in 2025, yeah, like is the goal just keep doing what we're doing, make marginal improvements, see where that puts us? Like what's the goals for 2025?